love this. So this should be a fun video because I'm gonna share with you the reasons why I really enjoy trail running. I went from not considering myself a runner to running my first race in 2021, and that was a 50K, so 31 miles. And I do get that question a lot. Why do you run? Why such long distances? Is it healthy for your knees? Is it healthy even like in general? Is it even fun? All these questions that I get mostly from people that do not run, or if they are, they don't quite get how a person would go for such a long run. Some of my trainings, some of my long runs, which typically happen once or maximum twice a week, those can be 3 to 4 hour runs. And I'm not even that crazy of a runner, because my trail runs, my ultra marathon, so whatever distance goes above the standard marathon distance, so 42K or 26.2 miles, I believe. Anything that is longer than that distance is considered to be an ultra marathon. And again, I am not even that crazy of a runner, because most of my runs, ultra marathons, have been 50K distances, so 31 miles. I tried one 50 miler, which is 80K more or less. But I have plenty of friends or people I follow on Instagram, on social media, that go for longer distances, 100K, 100 milers. There's always new events popping up that are just crazier and crazier with in terms of distance and terrain and yeah. So just to say that obviously it's always your own journey. So whatever is challenging for yourself, that is, I guess, what that's it. Like, I don't like to compare. I try at least not to compare with other people, because there's always going to be someone that is stronger or that seeks something that is just at a higher magnitude, just more extreme than what you're doing, and that's okay. It's my own journey, and I'm happy with those distances I'm picking for myself. And I know and I believe that sooner or later I might even try longer distances, but for now I'm just happy with these 50K runs. Um, but yeah, so the reason why I started running, well, I mentioned that on a previous video, was completely random. I've always been an athlete, always enjoyed sports, mostly short but intense sports, rather than slow paced, long endurance sports. But a friend of mine in 2021 once posted a story about running this trail run, and the fact that he was describing the ups and lows, and ups and downs of the run, and the fact that you're in nature. He shared pictures. It just um, spoke to my soul, and I knew that I just wanted to do that. I didn't know it was really a sport, so I never considered it before. I've never seen it before. So as soon as I saw that and I understood, hey, there are like events where you can run in nature, bam, I just decided to do it. Okay, but the reasons why I did it, so the reason why I started, this is the reason. Just randomly saw a post from a friend on Instagram and decided to go with it the minute I saw that post. So I think I picked a race the day after, and I had already contacted a coach the day after I saw that post. So it was really quick. But what I realized over time, after doing several of these runs. And again, I don't do a lot of them. I think I do on average since 2021 today. Now it's 2024. So in the past 3 years, I've done 1 or 2 runs a year. So it's not crazy. Like it's not a huge amount. Obviously, it requires some training and but to me, I'm not a competitive athlete. It's more about the experience. So I take some time to train, to work out, to build that strength and that endurance. And then I select 1 or 2 races that I do a lot of research on races. I use the website Ultra Sign Up, and based on the state, based on the distance, based on the terrain, you can put a bunch of filters and select the best race for you. And then I go on the website um, of the race I'm looking at to make sure that it fits with my criteria. And typically what I go for is either a state I've never visited before, or no, actually, my big priority is that the race has to be beautiful. So it has to be in nature, and I need to love what I have around me, because my theory is that if I am in pain, if I'm suffering, which will inevitably happen at some point during the run, then at least I want to be um, surrounded by beauty and inspired, and still like feel blessed that I am out there in nature, in the outdoors. And typically it has typically worked so far. I've always gotten to low points during the runs, and that's normal. Let me just check on the microphone. And that is normal. But the fact that I can, walk, there are sections where maybe I need to walk to recover, to, if I'm in pain or whatever. But then if I can lift my head up and see just the beauty of the world, that fills my heart. So that is my priority. I want to be in a beautiful place, and that is why I'm not a road runner. I talk about this a lot with friends, with friends, that I have never run a marathon on road except for one time, which was part of the Ironman, so a triathlon where you have swimming, biking, running. So then, of course, there's that running portion that is part of the triathlon triage. But anyway, so I ran that, but that's an exception. But typically, like a standard marathon, I've never ran a marathon, and I just cannot imagine I just cannot imagine how people even run marathons, because just running through a city on a flat surface for 4+ hours or whatever, it just sounds very challenging to me. Because if you look up, seeing a building, no matter how beautiful, no matter, you're running a marathon in Rome, it might be the most beautiful city to run a marathon in. Just saying nonsense. I mean, obviously there are much nicer places probably, but just to give you an example, but if I see buildings around me, no matter how beautiful, I don't know if that would keep me going, or if that would recharge me in the same way as a mountain would, a desert. But anyway, that's me. Anyway, to go back to the first question, why do I like trail running? So first of all, I really enjoy the version of me that comes out when I am on a run. I started noticing this after a couple events, but the fact that I am just so joyful and cheerful, and um, much more optimistic about and positive towards human beings. I'm just very cheerful and more talkative, which typically in my daily life, I am more reserved. I'm more of a shy person. Whereas I notice that when I'm out running, I am warmer, and I just feel this energy around me. And it's very special to me to see that light that I feel in myself, and that I feel spreading to other people around me. It's very special, so I do really enjoy that feeling. And I always try to remember how it feels like to bring it back to my ordinary life, which is not always possible because I think maybe part of that feeling comes from the fact that either it's hormone related, so the endorphins, the good chemicals that you start releasing when you're running, so you're just like happier and a better mood. So you don't get that obviously if you're like sitting in an office for 8 days, for 8 hours a day. But also I think that the fact that that you're in this run suffering, that you and these other people that have decided to take this day of the week off to run this run and to suffer through it together. I think that concept is very bonding and is very unique. So that, again, you cannot replicate in ordinary life. So you want to, what you're going, what you're going through, what the other people more or less are going through. We're all there probably for different reasons, but we are all there together. And so it makes it really easy to be empathetic and support other people. And I think that's really beautiful. And in fact, I feel like if we all did this kind of sport or endurance sports more often, maybe humanity would be better. Maybe mean, angry people wouldn't be as mean and angry, and we would be closer and kinder and more understanding with each other. Another thing that I really think happens during these kind of trail runs is that, I don't know if you've ever given any thought to the concept of ever since we are born, ever since we set foot on planet Earth, we are, through society, parents, and education, friends, everyone around us in a way or another are in a way telling us who we are supposed to be, what we're supposed to look like, what is the ideal job, what is the ideal status. And I think that you start building layers and layers of these personalities or of these false selves on top of your true self, to the point that oftentimes you don't really understand, you don't really know who you are anymore and what you want and what you desire, and you don't know which voice to follow, and you don't even know which one of these voices is your own true voice. So I think that that is very common, I think, for everyone. Just and you can't really avoid it, I think, either. But what I think is special and important is that when you grow older, and if you recognize this, if you recognize some sort of unhappiness, it's important to try to find a way to just clean yourself up and maybe reduce the numbers of layers, or just find which layer or which part of you resonates with your most true self. And I think that when you run and when you get to the state of fatigue and pain and at times frustration, there's no time for masks. There's no time and no energy for layers. You just go back to who you really are. You channel with that part of yourself, because you're almost like, yeah, well, you are basically in survivor mode. So all the useless stuff, who we want other people to perceive and see us as, that does not matter anymore. so you really become the person you are. And that is so important and so special, and such a unique feeling that you can't really access to as easily in your daily life, that alone is worth going through a run like that. And it doesn't have to be a 50K, it doesn't have to be 100 miler, it can maybe even just be a shorter run, but I think it has to be long enough to bring you to that state of pain, where you can just reconnect with that part of yourself. Um, I wonder if part of that is also not only the fact that you are in pain and going through that fatigue, but also the fact that in these long races, you're also spending a lot of time with yourself. So you allow for that to happen. The reconnecting with your brain, with your thoughts, with your breathing. But anyway, that can become a very long introspective talk or topic. The next reason I wanted to mention is, and I kind of mentioned it with my first point, is the community. I love, love, love the trail running community because it is very warm, very welcoming, very supporting. And of course, you have the elite, the pros, and then the more general community of people that just wants to go out in nature, have fun, and run. So I suppose I'm mostly talking about these people because honestly, I've never really met any of the pros, apart from, of course, social media. But every time I go on a run, I just love how smiley and cheerful the runners are. And the one year, 2022, when I ran triathlons, so I did the first year of trail running, then I went to triathlons, and then I went back to trail running. The triathlon people that remind me more of the road runner kind of person community, they, and that this, I don't want to offend anyone, that might be me still, my perception of how these communities are, but again, it's not nothing, it's just my experience. I feel like a lot of road runners are just more um, focused on, results and time. And in fact, for example, the pace, when you pace yourself when you're running on road, you can easily do that with a watch. When you are running on in the mountains, because of the elevation gain, you don't really pay attention to the pace because that's no longer a good reference because of the elevation gain, or the elevation, or the terrain. You mostly pay attention to your heart rate. But this being said, I feel like the running community, the road running community, is more intense or more in your face about that, like results and pace and gear. There's something missing when I'm surrounded by road runners. Something more, I don't know if it is something about the energy. I don't know if it's humbleness or, well, honestly, what I think it is the missing part is the nature portion, like the fact that runners that run in nature are, because most of these people that run it as trail runners, they do it because they want to be out and about and be in nature. So I think there's like some meditative component to trail running, that some more maybe it's like something more spiritual, more not spiritual, but something more holistic about trail running that you don't really get with road running. Because when you're running on road, that's all it is. It's a road, and you want to run that road as fast as you can, or maybe beat your previous record. With trail running, you can't really do that because every trail run is different. Each and every 50K is different because nature is different. There's not one event, 50K long event, that is going to be identical one to the other. So I don't know, maybe I'm just like getting lost with my thoughts, but let me know if you get what I'm trying to say. It's just there's just like, I will call it this magical component that is missing, or that I didn't feel when I was road running. But I also understand why that is appealing, the running on roads, knowing that you always have the same parameters, those don't change, and it's a competition with yourself. You want to become a better version, you want to become a faster runner, so you know that a half marathon is a half marathon, and every time you attempt that distance, you want to try to do it better. And that's an easy concept. Nothing changes. The only portion that has to change is you. You have to become better. But anyway, another thing I really love about trail running is, and of course you can do it with any kind of running, road running included, is the traveling portion. So again, as I mentioned earlier, I try to pick beautiful runs, and the when it comes to trail runs, I look at the parks, I look at the nature, I look at the environment, a lot of pictures. I definitely study the pictures to make sure it's an event that would please my eyes, that I would love being in. I had the opportunity to travel to several different states in the past 4 years because I picked runs that were outside of my state oftentimes. And so I went to Arizona and to Oregon, and well, one run was in Duluth, Minnesota. But yeah, I traveled a bunch, or Utah, beautiful. I traveled a bunch, right? And that's my plan for the future as well, just because I am curious. I'm a traveler at nature, at core, and I think it's a great opportunity to travel while also pursuing a passion that I have. So that is really cool. And then, of course, last but not the least, the fact that trail running is a healthy way of spending your time. You run, you stay healthy, you burn calories, you train your heart, you train your muscles, you build very different muscles than the ones you would challenge on flat surfaces as a road runner. Also, the trail runner typically looks quite different than the road runner. The road runner tends to be leaner and lighter, and yeah, I would say leaner probably, whereas the trail runner is more muscular, just because you need that strength to climb up the mountains, up and down. Yeah, so I think it's really healthy for both the body, but also mentally. I think I could really feel the benefit of that mentally every time I would feel, any sadness or anger or stress, or just when you have that energy that you want to release, that sometimes you don't even know what it is, whether it's just you had a bad day at work, or you have some tension with your partner, whatever it is, going out for a run helps you release that energy. And also, again, as I mentioned earlier, you start producing these hormones that overall just make you feel better. And also, I think running in nature, especially when you're in these majestic places like Utah, or doesn't matter where, but if you are the small tiny human running in these vast, beautiful, mountainous or non-mountainous places, you just feel humbled by everything. Like your perspective changes, I think, and you realize, hey, I'm just this little human running on a trail, and life is good. I don't want to say that it makes you feel meaningless, like your problems, I guess, feel less important because they're so tiny at times. Or you just feel more connected to the universe, and then you're like, who are we even? What is humanity? Just like this place, this mountain, this path I'm running on has been here for so many more years than us, that yeah, I don't know, I guess the silly little concerns that one might have in a daily life, a daily day, in a normal day, just becomes those issues, those concerns become less important. I think that is definitely helpful, in a way therapeutical. So that is definitely one of the reasons I do it, and also one of the reasons I keep doing it. I want to show you something. Except my foot fell asleep, so now I feel like I can't walk. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Here are a few of the medals. Of course, this is also a reason why I do these races. I love the medals. All right, let's go with order. They're not in order. I just put them here because I just kind of recently moved to this place, so I haven't found a place for these yet. This is a half marathon, Minneapolis. This is the Ironman, Italy. This is my first 50 miler in Oregon. This is a run I just did in Arizona, and I will add to this video a quick video I took of myself in a moment where I was struggling during the race. This was a 50K in Mesa, Arizona. This is a half Ironman distance, as it says here. This was the 60K, which I believe is about 37 miles that I ran in the Atlas Mountains in Morocco for charity. It's the heaviest medal I own. It's so heavy. Then this, probably my favorite race so far, Zion in Utah, 50K. And then this is from my triathlon days. This is just like Olympic distance here. Swimming, biking, running. That's me in Minnesota. That is the end of the video. I just wanted to share these points. I'm sure I could find more reasons why I like trail running. These, I think, are the more obvious reasons, probably the most important reasons I could come up with. I love the trail community. I love nature. I also just love parks. In fact, for 2025, I want to make that a priority, to just visit more parks. If there's anyone out there that is an avid hiker, a camper, a trail runner, no matter what, if you have any places, parks, national, state parks to recommend, or if you have any thoughts about what I shared, if you are a runner yourself and you have a different perspective from mine in these points that I mentioned, I'd be super curious to hear that as well. So that's all. Thank you. Bye. All right, I'm at kilometer 31, 4 hours and 10 minutes in. Another 20 kilometers to go. I was feeling pretty well on that first loop up till kilometer 21, and now it's not only fatigue, it's also like muscle pain. Like my muscles here around my hips are so tight. I can't bring myself to run any faster than this. Well, in European measurements, it's like 7 minutes per kilometer, I suppose. I think rank-wise, I'm not even doing all that well either, but I think as long as I keep going and not walk, like, it doesn't matter if my pace is really slow, as long as I can just endure the pain and go on, that's okay with me. A lady just passed me, her pace is like, I cannot do that. No one behind me. I honestly, yeah, I guess it stings a little bit if someone passes me, but at the end of the day, this is it. Like, I cannot go faster, and I have to give myself some grace. And even my arm is struggling holding up my phone right now. And I have a weird bitter taste in my mouth. I ran a 60K 2 weeks ago in Morocco. I was feeling, the ups and downs over there as well. Mostly fatigue, but not this tightness. It's like that feeling where you want to run like a T-Rex, all like crunched up. But I also brought home some weird or some sort of tummy issue from Morocco. I'm almost healed, but not 100% fine. So I had to battle some very acute stomach cramps earlier. Now it's okay, but now on the other hand, instead of starting to feel a bit of nausea, but it's all good. Another 20K and then I'm good. There's a mountain climb coming up soon, so I'll just take that easy and hopefully. Okay, I'm just gonna walk a little bit, man. It's 2 loops, so the first loop was okay. The issue with loops is that when you start the second loop, you know exactly what is awaiting, and so the good and the bad. So I know that the climb is going to be painful. It was painful the first time around as well, but I'm gonna share the view a little bit. That's me. Blah. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the climb was hard, but I will say that I'm more of a downhill runner, maybe because of the skiing I did in the past, and I typically catch up some on those downhills, but we'll see now because I really feel like my legs are so cramped. I really feel like my legs are really like so stiff, but the body does miracles on runs like these. You think you hit the wall and that's it, and that you have like nothing left to give, and all of a sudden you're back at it. So we'll see how that goes. Bye. I mean, it's beautiful out here. I'm really enjoying this scenery.
Let's go!